Now check this out, y'all. This is John, isn't it John Cena? I think that's his name, famous actor. Look at the chocolate dude. Tell me, tell me they don't look like twins. That's his brother from a different mother. So, we're going to talk about first of all, let me backtrack. I went to Chili's. My friend took me to Chili's for dinner, which was great. And guess what? Guess what? They didn't skimp on the dessert. They didn't skimp. They gave me a full dessert. Okay, it was a chocolate. I think it was a chocolate chip cookie with chocolate. It's drizzled with chocolate on it. Little ribbons of chocolate with a ice cream that wasn't half melted. Oh my. Oh my. They did not skimp. So I talked to the waitress. I said, "Your competitor, Applebee's, gave me a sliver of brownie. They used to give you a full brownie. You guys are better." She said, "Everything we do is better than them." Man, I lost it. Me and my friend bust out laughing. So I did a review on Applebee's, and they will see that they skimped, and I'm not happy about them skimping. I said, Chili's did way better. Get it together, Applebee's. I sure did. Anyway, now, the waitress did tell me, the waitress from Chili's said we did have to cut some things back on our menu. However, we do not cut back on portion sizes. Exactly. God dang it. So anyway. Anyway. So we're going to talk about consequences. Okay? Consequences. So I know somebody who is married, but he and his wife are consider themselves swingers, okay? And she's had her share of little friends, guy friends, and he's had booty from other women and that kind of thing. And when you get too much of a quotation marks good thing, there's still going to be consequences. And when people dip into that type of lifestyle, I don't think it ever occurs to them. I don't think it ever occurs to them that, oh, I may be having the time of my life, but it could backfire. It could backfire. They don't think that. So we're going to keep it raw today. I do believe when him and his wife were dating that she got pregnant on purpose. This is not nothing new. This is not new under the sun. This isn't unheard of. This is a common thread. There's at least 20 to 25 different types of birth control out there. There is no reason for you to get pregnant. No reason unless you want to be pregnant. You know what a goddamn condom is. You know what the birth control pill is. You know what an IUD is. You know what Depo-Provera is. And that's just a handful of birth control out there. Okay. Now, so far as I understand, there have been brain tumors related to the Depo-Provera. So if you are on it, I would strongly suggest you talk to your doctor about a different type of birth control, because I've seen where that can happen as a result of women being on that. So change birth controls, please, if that's what you happen to be on. But it's very common for women to be lackadaisical, spread their legs, and if I get pregnant, I don't really care. It doesn't even dawn on me that I could get pregnant. Oops, I'm pregnant. So he ended up marrying her. Now, is he the married type? No. But he felt like he needed to quotation marks do the right thing because he got her knocked up. And it's his fault too, because it doesn't even dawn on him while you sticking it in there. It doesn't even dawn on him, I should probably use a party hat. If I'm going to party, I should use a party hat. Does that occur to him? No. So when you got two adults that are being stupid, things are going to happen. Okay. It's so easy to trap a guy. Easy, because they don't care. They just want to be all up in there. So he said, before they got married, he said, Something along the lines of, I just asked that you do one thing for me. She said, what's that? He said, cook at least once a week. She's like, no problem. So I'm pretty sure she cooks all the time. But once a week isn't really that big a deal. It's not too much to ask. Okay. So they got married. Now, problem is he's a narcissist. When you marry a narcissist, you basically screwed up. Your vagina got your ass in trouble. You got pregnant and now you're paying for that. You're going to be paying for that forever. Okay. And some of the things he says, he's a narcissist. I mean, you just know that. And she was with a guy. I said, does it bother you that she's with other people? He said, no. He's the same person that said, and this is his idea of having a good time with women. You consider it a roller coaster. You get on, you have a good time, you get off. Oh, wow, that's hot. Oh, that's sexy. Not. If you're down to hump someone else's husband. That's just not hot. Anyway, regardless of their swinging lifestyle, they have loyalty to each other. So even if you decide you want to have an affair with somebody's spouse, number one, you will never be first. You will always be on the back burner. Because I don't care, people sing this song, I can't stand my spouse, my husband, I can't stand my wife, on and on and on. But they're not leaving that person, okay? And if the wife says for him to cut the grass, he's going to cut the grass and do what she needs done. Because if he doesn't, she'll make his life a living hell. So he can sing all types of drama to you and how she's awful and she's fat and lazy and she don't cook and on and on. But the reality is he ain't going no damn where. Same thing with women. My husband is terrible and he beats me up and, in some cases, women have humped the guy so good that when she says, I want you to eliminate my husband because he beats me up or he's touching our children in an inappropriate way, the boyfriend gets so whooped that he takes the guy's life. Now, is she telling the truth? A lot of times, no. But she wants her husband out of the picture. She's just tired. I don't know who's putting a gun to people's head and force them to get married, but you need to press charges on them because you obviously didn't want to get married. And somebody must have forced you. Okay. So anyway, back to the original guy I was talking about. I said, you don't mind her being with other people? He said, no, it turns me on. Okay. Hey, that's what y'all are into. That's what you into. Far be it for me to get in your way. Anyway, so a few months ago, she was with her quotation marks boyfriend. She was staying over at his place and the whole bit. And she has frozen her husband out sexually. And he told me about it. He said, I haven't had sex in months. I said, why? You told me that you guys have great communication. We do, but she's kind of shutting me out. She's working a lot of hours, and when she comes in, she's tired. She goes right to bed. He said, I cooked. I cleaned. I said, well, that was nice of you. He said, but I didn't. He said, but there's a cost. That's a narcissistic comment. Okay? Narcissistic comment. There's a cost. What do you mean there's a cost? You live in that house, right? Then you clean. You got to eat, then you cook. I mean, so he's basically, in so many words or less, if I have to go out of my way and do what I normally don't do, then there's a price for that. And the price was he did all that so he could get laid. Well, he still didn't get laid. And she has not been laying him for months. And I'm thinking to myself, hold it. She was doing her man a few months ago. But when she comes back home, she won't do her husband. But again, people think that when I overindulge in whatever I please, there shouldn't be any repercussions because at least I'm having a good time. Life doesn't work that way. He thinks that she could be on menopause where you start losing estrogen starts to lower and your drive goes downwards. That could be it. I don't know. It could be that she knows. If she don't know by now that he's a narcissist, girl, where have you been, sister girl? Where have you been, baby? Where have you been? Maybe you and I should have some coffee and we could have a little chit chat, because I know your husband is a narcissist. I've seen him in action and I've heard the shit that comes out of his face. I know he's an arc. Do I have anything against him? No, because I don't have to deal with him on a daily basis. I'm not married to his ass, so I'm good. But you think that if you are overindulging with other people sexually, you think that there's no payback for that, there's no repercussions for that. And I'm here to tell you that you're asking for complications. Do people think about that? No, because hormones block common sense. If your spouse gets with somebody who's better than you in bed and nowhere near as selfish as you are, even though you all are married, her lover's going to get more tail than you. Did I go there? Yes, I did. He's not arrogant. He might not be arrogant. He might not do things just for the sake of getting some butt. There's things about him that you don't have. And there's things that the husband does that the boyfriend doesn't do. So if you think that your spouse or your partner can't find somebody better in bed, even though y'all are swinging from the rafters, you think that there's no repercussions. That person might have more empathy than you. They may be better in bed than you. They may get your spouse gifts that you don't do. She may catch, or he could catch feelings for that other person, even though that supposedly, quotation marks, wasn't in the plan, or that wasn't the rules. Since when does our heart go by rules? It does what the heck it wants to do until the brain says, okay, that's enough of that shit, we're done. But the heart kind of does dumbness and takes us all over the place until the brain kicks in. That person may have better qualities, personality qualities, that the spouse doesn't have. There's always a chance that they may catch feelings for somebody else. I don't give a damn what y'all agree to. I don't care if you signed a contract in blood. We are not to catch feelings for somebody else. That is not the way feelings work. They do not follow a rule book. Logic has nothing to do with it. Now, he's a guy, so he's got better control over his emotions. He considers women a roller coaster, like I said. So chances of him catching feelings for somebody is slim. But if a woman especially, we gonna get real today. If a woman realizes, if she's smart in her head and she knows her husband is a narcissist and he's mouthy and he's arrogant, and she meets someone who isn't, that's refreshingly nice for her. She's going to like that. And she may want to spend more time with him than you, because you got a big mouth and you got a big attitude and you just strut around like a peacock. I'm going to do what I want to do, and this is my world, and I'm just, you just a squirrel trying to get nut. You can be as arrogant as you want to be, but the bottom line is she's going to find someone who isn't. And chances of her catching feelings for this person is pretty high. Pretty high. A lot of guys can tap booties and have absolutely zero emotions. Women can do that to a point. But if her man, her little side dude, is offering more emotionally than her arrogant husband, it should strike you as common sense that she's going to be drawn to him more. And your chance of getting some booty are getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And she may decide, I don't want to lay you ever again. I don't like your attitude. I don't like your mouth. You're not romantic. Everything you do has a clause. I would do this if. And when. And what do I get out of it? That gets old. That gets real old. She knows you're not going to divorce her because you're not going to want to split half of nothing. You're not going to split half. So guess what you're going to do? You're going to stay married. You're not going to may not ever get laid again. You're going to have to rely on tapping other women's booties in order for you to empty your wand. There's no chance of him catching feelings for another woman because he's just narcissists don't catch feelings. They don't fall in love with people. They fall in love with what they can get from the person. He admitted to me that he does not love his wife. He said, I love her as a person. I care for her, but I'm not in love with her. And I said, why? He said, because the girl that I was in love with, which I don't think he was in love with her either. I think she was just real good in bed, and it confuses his brain, make him think he's in love. She ends up cheating on him, and that was a long time ago. And I told you that guys will get burnt really good one time and they don't give their heart again. He doesn't give his heart either. I think she just rocked the hell out of him in bed and made him think he was in love because he's just he's a narcissist. He's hardcore. Emotions are hardcore. Like, he's just not the type to fall in love with someone. Narcissists don't do that. They fall in love with what they can get. And I'm not saying it's a bad person. I'm not married to him, thank you, Jesus. But I was married to a narcissist, and it's a rough ride. It's a rough ride. It sucks. It sucks. So there's always repercussions. You think that, oh my God, the world has opened up and lakes have opened up and this is great. This is like Walt Disney World every single day, and all the rides are free and all the snacks are free and I get to watch movies for free and it's just so much fun. And that's not how life works. There's always repercussions. You may ignore them because you're too busy, especially if you're a man and all you care about is skins. You may ignore them. But he's paying a price right now. Does he want to admit that? No. Your wife's not doing you for a reason. And I'm going to tell you a big reason why women don't do their partner or their husband. The first thing that let's see. Emotionally, I was devastated because of all the shit I went through, and I had to go through it alone because you're married, but you're single. When you're married to a narcissist, you're single. Your ass is single. Do you understand that? You are married on paper. People think that's a big deal. It ain't a big goddamn deal if that person does not honor their end. You are married on paper. Don't think more of that than you should. Marriage don't mean jack shit if one person said vows and the other person was lying their ass off. Okay? It's a business contract. And if that other person reneges, marriage don't mean shit. It means something to you, but it doesn't mean nothing to them, especially if they're a narcissist or otherwise personality disordered. Oh, sacred. It's such a sacred thing. No, the hell it isn't. No, it's not. Not unless both people are in love, both people want to protect each other, both people have each other's back, both people meant their vows. They didn't just say fluffy words because it makes people bring a tear to their eye at the wedding. They actually meant it. Then it means something. Otherwise, it's a load of cockamamie bullshit lies. Please. Y'all got to stop falling for words. I'll be with you till death do you part, and I'll have your back through thick and thin, and I'll love you forever until I lay somebody else. That's the part of the contract that's in super fine print. Please, give me a break. There ain't nothing sanctified about it unless both people are on the same damn page. Don't even get me started on that shit. Anyway, so yeah, he's not getting laid. He hasn't got laid in months, but she was laying somebody else. You can't just look at something exciting and forget everything else. Okay? Let's take something non-sexual. You want to go on a vacation. You can't just go on a vacation. You have to think, have I earned the vacation time at my job? Do I need to train somebody else temporarily while I'm gone? All right. Do I have the money to go on vacation? Is my house going to be secured while I'm gone? Because I don't need my house robbed while I'm gone. Do I have the money? Do we have kids? Are the kids going with us? Do we have a babysitter? There's a lot of planning. You can't just freaking drive to the airport and then expect to get on a plane. You ain't got no money and you ain't got no credit cards. They're going to look at you like, well, I don't know what to tell you next. You're not going to just go because you want to. There's stipulations. Well, doing people is stipulations too. Everything, if like I said before, if you want 10 ice cream sundaes every single day, you will pay for that very dearly, and your life is going to be on the line probably because you're eating entirely too much sugar. You're going to gain too much weight. You're ingesting a ton of calories. Yeah, let's talk five sundaes a day or 5 ice creams a day. You're going to pay for that. As a grown-up, you should know that when you indulge, you will pay for that. Whether it's too much sex, too much gambling, too much drinking, too much eating, too much video gaming. There was a guy who he was addicted to the video game to the point where he ended up dying. He stopped eating. He stopped sleeping. His body shut down. He died. Any overindulgence to an extreme is going to make you pay. Okay? It's kind of like, you know me, I'm into gems. I'm a gemaholic. Looking for silver, looking for gold, getting pearls, deep diving for pearls. All of those things are beautiful if you can get them, but it could cost you your life, and it has cost a lot of people their lives. Is it worth it when you get gold? Oh, of course it is. You're going to get paid. Or you get high quality silver, you're going to get paid. But look at what happens when you go in the mines. Any type of gemstone, you're risking your life. You could die. You're not just going to go in the ocean, or wherever, and get you a whole bunch of gold. You're going to be a multimillionaire. You're going to be sitting pretty. No, baby, no, baby. There's always a price. And people get dumb and they don't want to look at the price. They just want to have so much fun. That's a childlike mentality. Even if a kid rides their bike every day, there's a chance they could get hurt. There's a chance they could get hit by a car. There's a chance they could fall off the bike. Hopefully it never happens, but it could. There's a chance they hit a rock and it damaged their tire. Now they got to get a new tire put on their bike. Does mommy and daddy, do they have the money to replace the tire? Everything is not just fun, but there's always a price. And you can't have a 5-year-old mentality when you're an adult. You can't just think you're going to overindulge and have a blast, and there's absolutely no price for that. Vacations, for example, we talked about vacations. Vacations rob you of good sleep. You're excited before you go, so you're not sleeping that well. You're not sleeping that well when you're on vacation. You come back, you had a lot of fun, but you're tired. It's almost like you need a vacation from your vacation. Okay? There's always a price. If you're willing to pay the price, you good. But don't be silly and act like there isn't a price, because there is. And just because you don't see it today, right now, doesn't mean there will never be a price. And in the case of narcissists who love dogging other people out, and their default setting is manipulating and lying to people and tricking them and cheating, all of this is their default setting. Someone's going to get tired of your shit and they're going to come for you. Even though you have been doing this your whole raggedy life, somebody's not going to put up with your shit. But they're not intelligent, so they don't understand that somebody could come for them. Because they've been getting away with their whole life, so they assume they will continue to get away with it. There's going to be at least one person who's tired of your ass. And then men go in victim mode. She took my kid and I never see my kid again. Well, what'd you do to her? Well, they ain't trying to tell you all that. They're trying to act like a victim because that's what they do. There's a reason why a woman took the kid, and I met people on a dating site back in the day when I was dumb and I was on there and didn't know no better. She took my kid. I don't even know what state they're in. There's more to that story. People don't just randomly do that. I'm tired of looking at your face. Taking your kid, you're never going to see your kid again. No, baby, there's more to that story. Trust me. He'll never tell you it. But there's more to that story. So there's always repercussions. There's always a price to pay. It's not going to be a free-for-all. If you're going to party all the time, there's a price for that. You're going to have hangovers the next day because you drank too much, you partied too hard. You're going to have a hangover. You're dragging yourself to work. Your brain is bubblegum because you've been partying all weekend and robbing yourself of sleep. So now you can barely function at work. Your head is pounding. You're popping aspirin or Tylenol because you're like, There's always a price to pay. If you are willing to pay the price, go ahead and indulge, but you're going to pay. Go ahead and have threesomes, foursomes, fivesomes, orgies. Go for it. But there's a price to pay. Some people pay with their life. Some people contract something that, a shot doesn't get rid of. There's always a price. Bottom line is, are you willing to pay the price? You guys take care. Much love. Bye-bye.